England's blind and visually impaired side are in Australia, where they're contesting their own Ashes series. Well, I've been speaking to one member of the team, Hassan, who has a remarkable story to tell. He was born in Pakistan. He moved with his family to the UK at the age of 4, hoping for better opportunities because of his visual impairment. His family was cricket crazy. Before he went blind, Hassan used to carry a little bat with him all the time. He says he helped to learn English by listening to Test Match Special, and credits playing for the England visually impaired team as changing his life. I spoke to Hassan after England had completed their second one-day international victory over Australia in Adelaide, winning by 96 runs thanks to a monster partnership between Matt Dean and Luke Sugg, who both scored centuries.
They won the toss and it put us into bat, thinking they were going to put us under pressure. We lost 2 earlier wickets. We then proceeded to make 317 in our 40 overs.
That's a good score.
Yeah, no, the pitches are very bouncy out here actually, and they really struggled. I mean, they really struggled. We bowled them out, and we won by 95 runs. They had 7 run-outs. So clearly, our fitness, and our running, and our it was much better than theirs.
Brilliant. I mean, seven run-outs sounds a fairly chaotic end to the game somehow.
It was. I mean, but it just goes to show that, we've had the perfect kind of conditioning and the perfect kind of coaching to deal with the hot weather and the Australian way of things.
Yeah. And how are you finding the Australian way of things, Hassan? Are you finding the way that they play their cricket very different to the way we do at home?
Yeah, I do actually. I mean, I think they're a lot more aggressive in a kind way,
Yes.
and I love that actually. They're winners. That's what I like to see them as. And there's a bit of chit chat out there. They want to win every session, every over, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that we've been learning and coping with it, and actually we're starting to give back what they give to us.
Oh, right. So it's a bit of a job for the umpires to keep control then, is it?
No, it's all friendly banter, Jonathan. I just think that, the word sledging is easily thrown about, but, there's nothing wrong with friendly banter. It keeps the game going.
That's very true. I've only seen, obviously, visually impaired cricket, and I'm always just amazed by the way that you play the game. I mean, it's extraordinary, really. Where do you field? Are you in one of those sort of really crazy positions close into the bat and the ball's flying around all over the place?
Jonathan, some people call me insane, and some people say that I just don't have any morals or any feelings because of where I
so
feel.
You are then? Okay.
Yeah, I'm absolutely a crazy short square leg fielder, and the ball is hit extraordinarily hard in our game, and my job is to purely stop the boundaries or to get something on it so that the ball doesn't reach my outfielder's deep square leg. And I'll give you an example. A West Indian, so I do wear a helmet. A West Indian guy hit me in the helmet and the visor just fell in front of me. I stood there without a visor, and everyone said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, no, absolutely fine." And next ball, I got hit in the same place again. That's what it's all about.
Oh. And cutting to the chase, Hassan, in a way, I mean, how much can you see? Can you see the batsman playing the shot? Can you see the ball coming towards you?
None whatsoever, Jonathan. Our cricket, we've got 3 categories: B1, B2, B3. B3 category is someone who can see up to 20 degrees. B2 category can see up to 5 degrees. And a B1 category, you can see nothing at all. And I'm a B1 category player, so I see nothing. It's all on skill and sound, Jonathan.
Right, and I wonder how you can try and explain the sound. I mean, can you somehow therefore tell when the ball's coming towards you by the sound?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, actually, even when I listen to TMS or I listen to cricket on TV, I can actually hear and know a lot of the times where the ball is hit. So if I'm watching Joe Root and Joe Root cuts the ball, I'll know that he's cut it just by the sound. And that's what's come to me. I mean, Yeah, but our ball has ball bearings in. It sounds like an annoying baby's rattle, actually. So when it's hit
Yes.
towards you, I hear it and I have to react to it as quick as possible, really.
But the position that you're in, I mean, how far are you from the bat then? And not be able to see the ball and someone's hitting it like that, how far are you away?
We're talking 5 yards, 5 to 7 yards from the bat.
I mean, we've been wondering at James Taylor standing about that far away from the bat and taking some amazing catches, but I mean, he can see the ball. You know, if the picture that you paint is extraordinary.
James Taylor is actually solely responsible for putting pressure on my shoulders because people have been saying to me that he's been taking these amazing catches. We want to see more catches from you at short square leg. So thanks, James.
Right.
No, look, it is difficult. It is difficult. I'm not gonna, sit here and
No.
fib you, but it's an honor. It's an honor to turn up for my country, and considering where I started, I have to pinch myself every single day of my life to know where I am and what I've achieved.
No, that's brilliant. And it did start for you. I mean, it is a remarkable story, yours, Hassan. I've been reading about it, and I'd love to talk to you about it. I mean, at the age of 3, from having perfectly good eyesight, you wake up one morning and you are just suddenly completely blind, and you're living in Pakistan, outside of Multan. Clearly, medically, that's very challenging anyway. But I suspect in that part of the world, even more so. What sort of recollection do you have? I mean, being so young and yet being so dramatic an experience, can you actually remember it?
I can actually. I mean, in a village of 400 to 500 people, Jonathan, where there was a lack of education, let alone an understanding of disability of any sort, was was certainly not there, and no one really understood what had happened to me. I really didn't understand what had happened to me. Having lost my sight within a day was detrimental to how my family lived their lives because they spent many years in hospitals trying to figure out what happened and why. And my life in the meantime was what I'd say was non-existent in that I did nothing. I had no someone who loved cricket and sports. I never picked up a bat. I never had a day of schooling. And Jonathan, I remember vividly people would actually have conversations about me in front of me and say, well, actually, when he grows up, what is he actually going to be? Well, maybe perhaps the best he could be is an imam in a mosque, or perhaps if everyone, his parents, God forbid, pass away, he potentially could be a beggar. And as a child of 4 to 5 years old, that had a massive effect on me. But I knew that I couldn't really make any difference to my life, and I didn't know where I was going. It was horrible, and I did things that I wasn't proud of, i.e., react and maybe sometimes, swear a bit, because I just didn't know where life was going.
It must have been unbelievably, frustrating, frightening, all of those things.
Well, in England, in Australia, you have schooling, you have the opportunity to learn things, the opportunity to read Braille, to read books. I had none of that. My only entertainment was to watch half an hour of TV a day, and the rest of the day I'd just walk around shops, and everyone felt sorry for me because I was a blind person who had nothing to look forward to in life. Until Jonathan, my sister lost her sight at the exact age that I'd lost my sight. So when she turned 3, she lost half of her sight. That's when we sent our reports to Great Ormond Street in the UK, and they requested to see us both to tell us what had happened and see if there was a solution.
Right, so that's it's clearly a genetic issue there, and it's not sort of happening by accident.
It was. So to cut a long story short, we came to the UK. I was about 8 years old, and we discovered that it was the genetics. It was all genes related. My optic nerve had been damaged within the night, and the same had happened to my sister. However, she kept some of her side, and I wasn't lucky enough to keep any of it. But you know, once I remember this, the guy was the surgeon was Mr. John Wilson, and he said to my parents, he said that, look, I don't think there's any kind of research. I don't think he's likely to get his sight back. And I remember coming home, and this was in London, just sitting there crying for days because I realized that it doesn't matter where I was in the world, there was no solution, there was no life. Until I was introduced to a schooling in London. And that's when I decided that here was an opportunity to make something of myself. Here was an opportunity to almost show people back home that regardless of my disability, I could be something or someone.
And did cricket have any part of that life at that stage for you, or not?
Unfortunately not. I mean, I had to learn English. I had no schooling whatsoever. I was told that, you know, I had to learn English and Braille, what blind people read, in order to actually compete and to be able to take my GCSEs at the age of 16. So there was a lot of pressure on me. So cricket wasn't, you know, in the forefront of things. However, at the age of, well, I consider very late actually, at the age of 17, my PE teacher was contacted by Metro, London Sports Club, who were looking for young, enthusiastic blind cricketers. And I went along to their training, and I thought it was going to be like, you know, a couple of schoolboys hitting a ball around. It was going to be a bit of fun, and, you know, I'd come home and, yeah. When I went there, there was 30, 40, 50-year-old guys playing cricket to a level that I had never witnessed, blind cricket. I then learned that they had wonderful lives, wives, good jobs, and I was staggered. This was a new life for me. This was a different type of education, a type of education that I have to this day kept and valued and cherished. I really, when I pulled on the training top that day at the tender age of 17, I never thought I'd be invited back for a match. And a week later, I got a call to say that they wanted me to play in their first match of the season, and I took 2 catches, and from then I haven't really looked backwards. And 2 years later, I was introduced to international cricket.
It's extraordinary, isn't it, Hassan? Because I often talk to you know, we have a lot of blind listeners, and something that always is, well, I mean, I sort of wonder about people who've never seen cricket before, which presumably you haven't, since you went blind at 3. You know, can you somehow visualise the game as we would see it, or I don't know. I mean, it's something that's always slightly bewildering for someone who you know, happily can see the game going on. I just wonder if you know, how in your mind you are visualising a game of cricket having never seen it.
You know, that's really difficult to explain. I'm from a fanatic cricketing background, and cricket has been on, and my parents have played cricket, and my family played cricket, and I have always managed to pick up and understand how a pull shot is played, what a Yorker is. It's something that, and I've also got a very vivid imagination. Some actually say that's a bad thing, but honestly, that's been an advantage to me. It's been advantageous. And actually, I really want to take this moment to thank you personally and TMS, because, you know, when I was learning English, it was mighty difficult. I had no friends because, you know, there wasn't actually any Asian guys in my class who could speak Urdu. So, you know, I struggled with English. And I remember receiving a Sony Walkman as a birthday present for my 10th birthday. And during lunch breaks, I would just flick through radio stations to see what I could find. And one day I came across, well, it might have been you or Henry's voice. And I thought, this is cricket, and there's cricket commentary. And I sat, I remember it was England-South Africa, actually, the series in 1998, I think. Gary Kirsten scored a double century, I think so. Anyways, I listened to 5 days of test match cricket, and I rekindled my love for the game that I've always loved, but didn't really have the guts to admit it, because I was led to believe that if you're blind, you couldn't really pick up a bat. You know, the closest I got to cricket was actually commentating on my uncle's playing. And you know, there was one day where I made a new friend and I invited him to play cricket. I'd always invite people to play cricket, but I'd never partake in it because I knew I was never good enough or had the eyes to do it. And he came round and he played cricket with us, but he wanted to go back to get his own bat. And you know, I understood that at the age of 5, that everyone needed their own bats, and he was comfortable with his own bat. He went away and he never came back, Jonathan. And 2-3 hours later, I discovered that he had died. And he was playing cricket. He decided to play cricket with his other friends, and had fell in the lake and drowned. So cricket really hasn't always been kind to me. However, I now see it as it's healing. It's what I am. It defines me. Cricket is my life. It's defined me. And thanks to you guys, you know, I've managed to learn tips, coaching tips. Not to mention what pigeons look like now as well, by the way.
Well, you could definitely blame Henry for that. I love your enthusiasm, Hassan. You know, it'll be touching everyone who's listening to this, that, you know, despite not being able to see, that something like cricket can still give you a really worthwhile and enjoyable, fulfilling life.
Cricket has played a massive part in my life, and actually, Jonathan, from the age of 17, I was this young, timid boy who stayed at home. I'd never been to a tube station, let alone on a tube, on a bus. I'd never really stepped outside my home on my own until I discovered cricket. And I remember meeting one of the players and he picked me up from Tooting Beck Station, and then he took me to where we were training. And I said to myself, because I am resilient when I want to be, I said, next week you're going to go on the Northern Line on your own. Whether you fall down those tracks, well, I don't care. You're going to go on your own. And I remember my parents, who are cricket fanatics, were not happy with me venturing outside the home and playing cricket. Not because they weren't proud, but because actually my mum was really scared. You know, that she would lose a son who would fall down a tube tracks or would be bullied for being blind. You know, it was... And also, meeting people, professionals who played our game, made me realize that there was more dreams to achieve other than cricket and my education. And thanks to that, I'm now full-time employed. I also enjoy my cricket. And it's all thanks to Metro and England and the ECB, who have been immense over the last 2-3 years. I've been in and around the setup for 10 years now. And ECB have come in over the last 2-3 years, and the difference in the squad, the management, the coaching, the facilities, the equipment, the travel has been immense. And people often say to me, you know, I don't understand cricket being on Sky Sports. And I love cricket, Jonathan, and I love it, the fact that it's on radio, and I'd love it to be on terrestrial TV. But actually, that money is going towards some wonderful causes. And I think that we are all a cricketing family. We should all support one another. You know, the ECB have actually now, they fully support visually impaired cricket, physical disability cricket, deaf cricket, and learning disability cricket. You know, and all these teams are achieving massively. They're going abroad. They're winning the World Cups. We are now 2-0 up against Australia, in Adelaide, and we have the chance to secure the Ashes on Australia Day. You know, I remember growing up thinking I would love the opportunity to play one over in Australia against Australia, wearing the 3 lions on my shirt, and I've now managed to play 2 matches against Australia. It's been an honour, and you know, I just want to say this: over the last 2 days, it hasn't been like playing with colleagues. It hasn't been like playing with friends. It's been like playing with 10 other brothers, and it's all thanks to the setup that ECB have managed to provide us with, and thanks to them. I really, from the bottom of my heart,